Good morning. Look, today I'm here again to talk to you guys about a lot of things going on around the world, but today I want to talk to you about elections in Africa. Elections in Africa. And you know, the world now is such that every country or to be accepted in the international system or community, a country must have elections. And I agree, that's a very good thing for us to do, have elections. But that's something that I've been thinking about all the time. And it has to do with my continent, Africa. I'm going to talk about Africa today. And I want to say a big thank you to the people of Zambia. Zambians went to the polls yesterday to have elections. The incumbent is running for a single term or something. Don't get me tied down to the facts about the whole thing. The moral of the story is that you try to tell us as Africans that elections should not be the precursor to violence. Elections should not be the precursor to violence. If you go back in time, and I'm going to use my own country, Liberia, as an example. Elections has been used as the precursor to violence because both parties, the winner, the loser, everybody complain, vote raking, and from there you have the country sliding down into conflict. I agree that African countries have made enormous progress. They have made considerable progress when it comes to having elections with limited conflicts. But elections have been used, or as soon as election, there is fear of violence, civil war breaking out. In Liberia, after the 1985 election, we had a body coup d'etat that led to the death of Prince Conway. And then the country started sliding down deeper into crisis. In 1989, in December, the country went to full-blown civil war. The picture you see there about the military, that's the military of Russia. That's not that. I'm just trying to say how we use elections to get to a big civil war, and we spend a lot of money on our military, forgetting to know that the reason our people fought for independence was for us to improve their lives. But when we get elected, we use the resources to enrich ourselves. We use the resources to enrich ourselves. So as a result of that, we want to hold on to power even if we lose the elections. Even when we lose the election, we want to hold on to power. And the opposition too, even when they lost of fair elections, they use it as an excuse to bring about conflict in the country. Zambia just won the elections, and all of the indicators, the military, the government deployed the military before the elections. I don't know what the issue was, but the government deployed the military before the elections, sparking fear that the elections is going to be rigged. Coming back to my country, Liberia, 1985, we had the elections, October 1985. Don't want election. The international community, other people said it was not fair. Equally so, Liberia was the only country that was having election at the time in the sub-region. We would have used that as a stepping stone to build our democracy. I agree there was some things that we needed to adjust. But we cannot use elections, we cannot use the irregularities in elections as a pretext or as a precursor to violence. We can. And that brings me to the other point, that our military, our politicians should grow up. Our courts should grow up. They should become independent. The people themselves have to encourage the leaders to say, look, if you're dissatisfied with the elections, Go to court. That's why I said the courts and everybody have to go. The courts should look at the facts and rule accordingly. Everyone has to play his role in the development and the nurturing of democracy in Africa. And I agree that they're making progress. We are making progress when it comes to elections. But the reason I take on this topic today is Zambia. I saw something on Twitter where the guy said because the military, the government deployed the military, as I said, I don't know the whole facts. People can read about that and don't know what the facts are. The government deployed the military. The elections are not going to be fair. So even if the incumbent wins the election, it's not going to be fair. I agree it's intimidating, but elections supposed to be like people playing a soccer game or basketball game or tennis game or boxing or whatsoever sports we play. For soccer, when the ref blows his whistle for an infringement, all the players stop. The ref makes a decision where it's going, they dissatisfied, but they continue with the game. When the game is over and there's a grave violation of the rules of the game, they have processes to follow to challenge the grievances. And they start fighting on the field and breaking down the goalposts and busting the ball and you name the other things that we do. But we have politicians, African politicians, never growing up. African politicians never grow up. We always use violence to solve our problems. We always use violence to solve our problems. Spend a lot of money on the military. As I said, this is not African military. This is a Russian military. I just used this picture just to show that we need to use our resources to improve the lives of our people, create jobs, keep our kids on the continent of Africa, use our talented people, encourage them to stay on the continent of Africa, then go into Europe, America, come to America, and then go into other places where their talents are not appreciated. Some of them survive in a new environment, but most of us come to a new country and we're not successful. We work in McDonald's flipping burgers, and somebody say clinic grow my bud. We gotta grow up. African politicians have to grow up. The people themselves, African people, have to grow up. The people have to push the politicians. Our people have to push our politicians. What do I mean our people have to push our politicians? The people in Liberia, let me start from Liberia. We as Liberians are corrupt to the core. I'm talking about the people, not the government. I will come to the government. I'm talking about the people themselves. I know you get an opinion, but just wait a little bit. Let me explain. Have you ever traveled on the taxis in a public transport and you get to a police officer stop you, maybe in Monrovia or somewhere, what have you? He stopped the driver for no apparent reason. In the United States, when police stop us, he said, his car is parked behind us. He doesn't stand in front of the car, that the car is not moving. In Liberia, it's the opposite. The police officer stands in front of the car. And I don't want to, maybe the car can have a mechanical problem and somebody can run you over. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when the police stop the driver for no apparent reason, even if he has reason, he could say, what's your license? Your license or insurance? Go and look at whatsoever he needs to look at when the registration insurance, good. He asks the driver what the problem he has with the driver. Maybe reckless driving, tail lights off, running on smooth tire, bow-legged parking. You need the rest of it. That's not the case. If he found an infringement of the rules, driving rules, he would give the driver a ticket to go and pay. But I'll come to that problem. The justification some people have for which the police are not giving tickets. I will come to that point. In Liberia, what the police does is he comes to the driver to give money. All the passengers in the car, all of them will say, "Oh, give the man something, so we'll go. Oh, give the man something. Something in Liberia mean give him some money, so you allow you to go. You didn't break any laws. He didn't tell you what he do. Sometimes he takes your license, puts it in your back pocket, go sit in the a Kobo shop. In Liberia, they say Kobo shop is this local street food area. And go sit in there, and the driver has to wait and go to him and give him some 25 Liberian dollars, 50 Liberian, whatsoever they can give to live. The citizens themselves are telling the driver to give the guy money. The citizen go to fix the document, and somebody asks them for money, and they do it because they want to get it. We are not taking the fight to the authority. We are not taking the fight to the authority. Elections in Africa. We used to praise Ghana. Oh yeah, Ghana is doing well. They just ended elections. Ghana too started. It is sliding down. The elections led to the death, I think maybe 5 or 6 or 7 presidents. They just got elections last December that brought this man to power and gave him the second term. Nana Akufo-Addo. I love Akufo-Addo. Even I love Dr. Bahama. These are all good guys. But Ghana too is beginning to get it, going down the road of violent elections. It's the violence, the precursor to violence in Africa. We have to grow up. We have to grow up. Poor countries spending all their money on buying big guns not to protect themselves, not to protect the country from external aggressions, but to perpetuate themselves in power. To perpetuate themselves in power. Zambia had elections. The results will be out. Maybe it's out now because I don't know. I've not been following it. Maybe it's out now. But Africa cannot use violence. I say elections cannot be a precursor to violence in Africa. In Liberia, it was this case. We talk about Kenya, it was the big violence after election. Even anytime you're going to have elections in Kenya, there is fear that there's going to be violence. You go down the road, go down to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, go to Sudan, go to South Africa. Every African country you can go to, elections. When elections is around the corner, there's a fear of violence. It's going to break out. You got to grow up from that. We have to grow up from that. Elections cannot be used as a pretext to violence. We have to make sure we do the soccer player, basketball players. When the game is over, they shake hands and they go about the business. They go and get ready for the next game or the next season. The next season. They never go and start causing confusion, the fighting, and everybody doing whatever they can do. We have to get away. And the people of Africa have to stand up. They fight, the constant fight for, the politicians I believe in. If he doesn't win, he's cheated. And I want to get in the street for violence. Now, our leaders need to create the environment in which our kids can get job opportunity to learn. They just to earn money and stay on the continent of Africa and use that talent to improve our continent. Our continent is making progress. Only its progress is painfully slow. We got to get away. Military solution cannot be the way we solve our problems. We can send military anywhere in Nigeria. First, the Boko Haram with violence. We got to look at the underlying causes of this violence. I detest violence to the highest levels. the higher level to test violence. But our governments across the African continent go to South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Liberia, and everywhere. The reason we have violence is you have a lot of people who are not doing anything. And when we measure progress in Liberia, we're not measuring it by job creation. We measure it by the roads they build. If you build roads in Africa, yes, it's good. We will need roads. But if our people cannot get good living situation, how are they going to drive on the roads? So I want to end here and say, look, Africa, I want to tell the people of Zambia, but violence and elections should not be the precursor of the violence. If we have our differences, let's solve our differences through peaceful channel. Our courts have to stand up. Our courts have to stand up. Our people too have to stand up. They got to pressure the politicians and say, look, there's a game. That's a game. They say one game, two sides. Okay, let's say maybe three sides. One side is lose. One side is win. Another side is draw. Those are who play soccer over there. Most of the time, the game tie. Here in the United States, the tie. We say there's a draw. Where I come from. There's a draw. So one game, three sides. You got to accept every side. People go into elections. Like in Zambia, I like to follow people on the Facebook pages, and I say when I want to do a topic, I go in the country I want to do a topic on, and investigate and see what happened. On one of the guys, Zambian Twitter page, he said the election is going to be unfair if the incumbent wins. I will justify my story. Well, you say election is going to be unfair when the incumbent wins. It sounds like Trump, who says the only way he's going to lose the elections, the 2020 elections in the United States, is when he's cheated. So he said that in Zambia, the only way the incumbent will win is when the election is not fair. So are you saying the only way? So are you saying before the elections are held, the opposition is going to win? Setting the people up, preparing the people for violence as soon as you lose the elections. This won't get three sides. I would tell my supporter, look, we're going to win this election, but behind closed door, I'm going to tell them, say, look, when we don't win the elections, we'll continue the fight. The struggle is going to be on. But all over Africa, once we lose, we're cheated. Violence. So in Liberia 2011, after the people lost, CDC lost, protests in the streets, that the CDC, that is Congress for Democratic Change in Liberia. Protests, violence. As I said, in Kenya, Rala Odinga and other people, there was violence. In Democratic Republic of Congo, there was violence after elections. And you go down the list and you see what happened because of election. If we want to implement democratic reform, we have to do it right. We got to train ourselves and say, look, when you lose the elections, that's it. You get ready for the next fight. Equally so, both sides, that the government to the elections got to be, we all got to work to make it perfect. Not perfect, but 80 to 85% fair. Our courts too got to be there when the two sides come and they say it was not fair. Go into the facts and see why it was. And you can make your decision fairly, without fear or favor. Without fear or favor. Well, before I conclude, I always have to talk about my county, River G County. I want to say that I'll be talking to the president of River G County. I have that photo back there. It was our photo from 2019, convention in Tucker, Georgia. It's a photo at the cookout. So I guess I have that photo there because I'll be talking to the people of River G, the president of River G County, to actually about how what they're doing, what are some of the projects River G County the River G County Association in the United States is undertaking. I know about some of the projects. I'm part of the organization, so I'll be interviewing the president and asking some questions. So I have that photo there for the memory we had before the last convention, before this COVID. We didn't go to the last elections. The president would tell me about all the things that us about all the things they are doing. And that's the reason I have the photo over there. And I hope my brothers and sisters in the photo don't feel offended. I have the photo on my discussion. I will talk to the president, and if you guys have any question, comment. We'll talk about that. I want to say a big thank you to the people of Zambia for the elections. I hope everything goes fair and it's go fine. No violence. If you have any a problem, any discrepancies in elections, go to the courts and solve your problem. Thank you very much and have a good day. I will talk to you when I talk to you. Bye-bye.